This morning, I spent nearly 35 minutes on the phone with a safety manager who called to discuss some significant challenges she's having with her team and specifically her supervisor. And her story mirrored so many others that we've heard over the years. And it really boils down to the fact that she was very clear that she had a solution for some of the significant challenges that they're having in the field, but was frustrated because no one else, including her supervisor, was willing to even to listen to it, much less adopt it. Today, we get into the third leadership indicator that's mission critical for you to get your solutions and your ideas heard, adopted, and moving forward. Welcome back to the PioneerCast. I'm Dwayne Abels, founder and president of Pioneer IQ. Joining me this morning is Dr. Charlie Cartwright.
How are you today?
Doing good. You know, this being back in the studio versus where we were last week just doesn't seem as fun.
Yeah. It was kind of amazing there at the Gaylord, that's for sure. I'm excited about today's podcast for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as a quick tee up, we're in a series called the 7 Leadership Indicators. And essentially what it boils down to is the 7 specific things that Dr. Charlie's defined that's mission critical for us to be able to implement and execute with each relationship in our lives so that we're able to get the results that we want, need, and desire and can stop walking away from these relationships really frustrated. My hope over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes is that you're able to pick something up that helps you better develop your leaders, scale and build your business, and maybe have some insights into your market. Charlie, it might be helpful for you just to give us a quick tee up on the previous ones that we've talked through in the previous PioneerCast and prepare us for what you're bringing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first episode was on connection. And in order for us to really establish those relationships and set the groundwork and the framework for what's to come, we have to have connection with our personnel, with our people, with the people that we're seeking to lead. And with connection, that we can use that to build a bridge to trust. And once we've established trust through our behaviors, through our actions, then that sets us up for our next episode, which is thoughts. Because all those things that we're going to talk about in the future, right? Behaviors, habits, the results we're trying to achieve, the birthplace of those are in the thought world of the people that we're choosing to lead.
Yeah. So this morning, as we were preparing for the podcast, I took that phone call very early this morning, and it was just amazing how the timing of the phone call and our discussion that we're having here on the PioneerCast kind of went hand in hand. But as you're pointing out and as you're getting ready to talk more, this is really the indicator where if you've connected properly and you've started to develop trust because that person genuinely understands you, love, and care about them, this is where you propose the idea and they're either going to take it or not take it, right? I mean, this is kind of that key step where you're proposing a thought that you're hoping that they adopt, use, deploy, etc. Correct?
Well, exactly. When we propose these ideas, we need our people to give it thought. We need them to process it. We need them to compare that to past practices, compare that to where we want to go, what we're seeking to achieve. And then from there, we can really build the solutions that are going to lead to the outcomes that we're looking for. But in order to get there, our people have to be able to give our ideas thoughts. And we have to lay the groundwork for them to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna give this some thought. What Dwayne said has a lot of validity to it. We're working on this solution. We're dealing with this issue. I'm gonna give it a lot of thought. And then through that thought, we're gonna bring more ideas to this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think part of what you and I run into a lot is people getting very frustrated at other folks on their team or their direct report, their direct supervisor, and they feel like they're being disrespected, not being heard, not valued, right? And they then begin to spiral. And what I told the young manager this morning on the call was, you are technically sound. You're a mechanical expert at safety and what you do, and I do believe she is. The part that I was coaching her through was the people sides, the part that you talk about all the time. And just the fact that she's got to walk in today and make the choice. Are you going to genuinely connect with them, build trust, and love them so that next time you go to propose something, the soil is much more fertile.
Absolutely. And then there's 4 magic words that we can utter to stimulate the conversation. And you know what those 4 words are?
I don't.
What do you think?
Oh, right.
Ask our people.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah.
And now we've got a dialogue, not a monologue.
Mm-hmm.
And dialogue leads to solutions. It leads to improvement.
Yeah. So in summary, what are the 2 or 3 things that is critical for us to do in order to get people aligned with our thoughts?
So number 1 is we have to have the end in mind. We're gonna talk about what that end result is going to be. We need to propose our idea, right? And then we need to get their thoughts. We need to draw them out to bring their thoughts to the table about the idea. And when we get them to share their thoughts about our idea, by nature, they're thinking about it. And we're moving closer toward our goal that way.
So when we were at the Gaylord last week, we were really focused in on the concept of trust, right? And we talked a whole lot about how critical it is for people to initiating conversation, really more focused on them and their personal life and how things are going, and genuinely asking questions that reflect concern. But the whole concept behind building trust in the bigger picture, going back to what you always say, is if you love them enough, you'll understand how they operate, how they tick, how they think, and what motivates them, right? And so as you were just explaining that, my thought went back to a comment that you made last week, which was if you take the time to love them and get to understand them, you'll communicate that strategy, that thought, or that concept in a way that they need and want to understand it, not the way that's comfortable for us to do it.
Exactly. And then there's not a single one of us that is our own island, right? That knows more. There's not one of us that knows more than all of us. And so when we bring our team into the thought process, we're always going to be smarter in the aggregate than we are as an individual.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Huge. Yeah. One of our guiding principles is we are smarter than me. And really, really believe in that. So hopefully this is helpful for you. This is something that Dr. Charlie and I and a lot of people from the PioneerIQ team run across all the time. We take text messages, phone calls, and emails. I mean, literally on a daily basis, people asking, how do I get these people to accept my strategy or my thought or my solution, including executives, right? And so I think this is a key piece that hopefully people will be able to pick up a few tidbits from and be able to move their business, their teams forward. Well, I certainly appreciate you bringing that to us this morning. Very helpful. I'm hoping that this conversation is something that people walk away with and make a decision within the next 10 minutes to change how they're approaching relationships, even ones that they've had established for years. Really, and it just gets back down to, if you have the great idea, if you have the big solution, you've got to have fertile soil that you've pre-prepared, or in other words, the right environment for people to want to hear what you have to say and to be aligned with the solution that you're trying to propose.
Yeah, 100% true.
Hey, thanks for being here this morning with us.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So in the world that we're living in now, we literally have 0 to no time for mistakes, it seems like, or tolerance for delays. Hopefully you're able to pick something up that makes you a better leader and makes your team more effective so that you can move forward. Now, more so than ever, certainly your team, your family, and our communities need you. Have the courage and lead on.